Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's set up a tooltip. Alright, so I'm in our project. Right here in our HUD elements folder, these are all the HUD pieces that pertain to the player, like the spellbook, questbook, all that jazz. I'm going to right click and create another user interface for a widget blueprint. This will be the tooltip _W. I'm going to double click and open that up. The first thing I'm going to do is right here at the top where it says fill screen, we want to click that drop down. We're going to put desired on screen. Then we'll wrap the canvas panel with a scale box and a size box. Now for the size on mine, let's see, I think it was height 450 and width 300, something like that. Basically just a tall rectangle. Of course, you can customize it to whatever you need, but this is what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to add an image to my canvas panel that is anchored to the full thing. Offset right back to 0, offset bottom back to 0. I'm going to set the tint to a... black is done well. No, let's do something different. Let's do like a blue-ish. Like a Final Fantasy VII old school blue. I like it. Alright, now I'm going to add one more image to the canvas panel. This one, make sure you click the new one because it might default back to that first one, but clicking the new one, I'm going to anchor that to the top middle. I'm going to rename it real quick to be item image, because this is going to be the image of the item that we're looking at right now. Make sure it is a variable. This one actually doesn't need to be a variable. But with that one as a variable, we will set its offsets back to 0. We're going to set it to 0.5 on this X so that it's right in the middle of the screen. Position Y, just scale it down somewhere that looks good. Looking like 45 looks pretty good. And then size X will be 75, same as size Y, 75. Might end up a little bit bigger, but for now that'll be fine. Alright, and let's see what I want now. So we'll need an item image, a text for the item name, which can either be above it or below it. I'm going to put it right here probably. A scroll box with text for the description, and then down here at the bottom, if it's a weapon, it'll be like how much damage it does. If it's an item, it's how potent it is, or whatever your variables on it are. So next I'm going to add my text block to my canvas panel. I'm going to rename it to item name, make sure it is a variable, and then anchor it to the dead center of here. Position X and Y back to 0 and 0.5 on the X so it lines up in the middle. Now you notice that the text isn't exactly lined up, so right down here we can hit this justification, align it to the center, and then boom, just like that. Tough actin' tenactin. Alright, let's see. I'm going to change this to item name. I'm going to alter the typeface and the size of the font. So for the name, I'm thinking light. And then setting it to like 20. No, maybe 25 for that one. And then the color, I'm going to make it like a pinkish red or a lightish red, whatever you want to call that. Now for position Y, if I scroll left, I can move it up. So negatives will go up, positives will go down. So let's move it up to about here. So that's what, -95. I like to get it close to where I want it and then go ahead and just zero it all the way out instead of leaving it like with these right here. It makes it easier to line everything up, in my personal opinion. So now what we need is for the item description, we're going to need a scroll box. We'll parent it to the canvas panel, and with it selected, we are also going to anchor it to the dead center. Crap, what did I do? Oh. 0.5, and for this one, we can also 0.5 on the Y. It's not exactly necessary, but not a bad idea. Now we'll scroll this out to almost to the edge. We don't want it all the way to the edge because then the letters might go outside the box a little bit. So let's see, 270 looks pretty good. And then size Y, let's see, about 170 looks good. So 270 by 170. Now you notice it's kind of overlapping right there, so I'm just gonna, oops. It's gonna, you can tap the down arrow if you have something highlighted and just kind of knock it into place by however many grid points this is set to. You can actually, like if you look at it right now, position Y 32, if I hit down on the keyboard, 36. So it'll let you kind of inch it into place directly instead of having to drag it and maybe going off to the right or off to the left. It's just a handy little thing. Alright, back to what we were doing. We need another text. So I'm going to grab this one, duplicate it, and I'll just drop it right onto that scroll box like that. Now we can go in. I'm going to change the color of this one to like a goldish, kinda, whatever that color is. I'm going to change the size to 20, make it a little bit smaller. And this one is going to be italic. Maybe a little bit smaller, maybe like 15. So, but one thing we do need to check, I'm going to just punch in a bunch of random text like that. So the reason I did that was because you see how it's just all on one line. We need to go down here to wrapping, and we need to auto wrap text so that it fills that box and then drops down as it continues. Now you can customize this with this wrap text at. Whether text wraps onto a new line when its length exceeds this width, if this value is 0 or negative, no wrapping occurs. With auto wrap text, it will automatically occur, but if you wanted to customize it, see now it wraps just with, at that point, you can increase this and it will reach a certain point and then wrap. I'm just going to leave it at 0 because it basically does the same thing. Oh yeah, auto wrap and the wrap text, they do the same thing. You don't have to do that. I'm just going to auto wrap. So that'll be good right there. So there's our description, and now we need one more of these that I'm going to move. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Item name. Crap. So sometimes if you click over here, like if I was trying to do this and then I come over here and hit down on the keyboard, it'll just cycle through all the things over there. But if you grab the one you're wanting, even though it's behind this one, I don't have to adjust this over here. I can just right click and drag around on the screen so that my focus is back here. And then if I hit down on the keyboard, then it will scroll the way I needed it to. So position X back to 0. This one's color will be just a plain white. And this text will change, but for now it's just going to say potency. Then I'll duplicate this one more time. Drop it way down. Drop it low. Position X to 0. This is going to be the number. So now this is, we'll select the potency. Let's set it to say descriptor. No, that might get too confusing later on. Let's say item label. That'll work, I guess. And it's a variable. Now for this one, the reason it might have gotten confusing because we'll change this one to be description. And now this we can change to say potency or item number or whatever you want to, whatever you're gonna call it. It'll be used on every item, but it can be the damage numbers or it can be the how much health it restores. You know, that old chestnut. Alright, so we are looking good so far, but we need to do one thing. We need to compile and save, and we need to go into the graph. So we are going to add a variable over here that will be item info. So we'll click this drop down. We're going to grab our item info structure. We're going to make it instance editable and expose on spawn so that when we right click in our other blueprints and say create this widget, we can automatically feed it into it, and each instance of it will be editable. So get rid of pre-construct, get out of here, get away tick. Event construct, what we want to do is we want to break this open, so we're going to break it open. Now I'm going to drag out the item image, and I want to set the brush. Now right here in brush we are going to make slate brush. So right there at the bottom, make slate brush. I'm going to connect this to the construct, drag it over here, click this drop down. Right here at item image we can plug it in. I'm gonna drop these two way down because I'm gonna reposition this over here. Now I want to change the item name, so I'm gonna drag out my item name and do a get, and then I want to set text, this one in parentheses. We will set the text to be our item name. Then we'll come back to the description because I have it on mine, but y'all don't have it on yours yet because this is one of my second times recording this. But we'll do all the rest of them and then we'll go to that. So let's see. We will do a switch on item type. So we'll connect this right here. We'll leave that there for right now. Let's go ahead and set up item label. No, that's what we're doing with the switch. Alright, we can do this now. Alright, let's plug this in right here. So we're doing from the item type, you can drag off and just type switch on item type, and that'll get you the same thing. So the item will always have a name, but it might not always have these other things. So we'll drag this over a little bit. So I am going to grab out item label, because that's the one where it'll change from potency to damage or whatever, and we're going to set text of that one. So if it's a health item or a mana item, I want that one to say potency. I'm going to drag off and set the text one more time, because if it's a sword or arrows, I want it to say damage. I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to set text again, because if it's a shield, I want it to say what did I have it say? I'm just going to say defense now, I guess. Defensiveness or defense. I put something cool sounding in the preview, but I forget what it said now. So, accessories, you can... Well, we are going to set these up eventually. We'll come back to this one when we do set those up. Key items won't really have a item label, nor will resources. The bow, you can have it set to damage if your bows have different damages. My bow doesn't. It just has arrows that do different damage, which we're going to eventually go up and make it to where you can only equip certain arrows based on your level, and that'll be a little way of restricting it. So for now, this is good. But what we need to do, right quickly like, is we are going to go to our item info structure, because we need to add this item description. So what you're going to do, let me just go ahead and delete this, because this is the second time recording it. So the first time I was just like looping out of it and didn't do very good, so I was like, I can't put that up, that's not near the quality. So we're going to add a new variable. I'm going to scroll all the way down. This will be item description, and it will be a text, and then we can save this. Now back over here in our tooltip, if we compile, it should appear here at the bottom. You might need to do this in refresh nodes. So what we will do from here is we can grab out our description, we'll get it, and we will set the text. We'll plug this in before the switch, just so you don't have to plug in a bunch of different ones. And then description will be at the very bottom. And just like that. Alright. So now how do we set this up and actually get this on screen? Let's save all that. Let me check something real quick, because I've been... Okay, it still works fine. So, something I have noticed, just real quick, as an aside, something I have noticed is sometimes when I first load the engine up and I click play, sometimes it says blueprint failed to compile, blah blah blah, this blueprint has an issue. And it'll bring up a whole string of things. And I was kind of hoping it was going to do it this time, but it didn't. So but let me walk you through it anyway. So for instance, if I go in the HUD elements, the one that I usually have the issue on the most is the crafting screen. So when it opens this up, I go in here, and oh, that's why it's not doing it. Let me plug this in and maybe it'll do it. Damn it. Okay. Anyway, so sometimes you just, if you do get that error, all you have to do is just, right here where we're creating a crafting icon widget, what I've found to fixes it, you just refresh the node. You right click, go to refresh nodes, and then you can recompile. And for some reason that fixes it. I don't know if that's an Unreal Engine 5 thing, that's one of the bugs in it, or what. I've never had that issue in 4. It pops up from time to time in 5. But if you get that, that's how you fix it. You just go wherever you're creating a particular widget, just right click, refresh it. It's fixed it every time I've had it pop up. Like I said, I was hoping it would do it this time so I could show y'all, but is what it is. So now what we can do is, where we want this to pop up is in our menu. We have it in our inventory pack. So we're going to use it on the inventory icon, which we're going to fix this thing, make it more like the other ones in a bit, but not right now. Let's focus on this. So what we can do is on our button, we need to do an on hovered, button, and on unhovered. So on hovered, the first thing we want to do is we want to see if the item class is valid. We don't want to really make this pop up and if there's no item there, because it would just get in the way. So we're going to see if the class is valid with a branch right here. We'll plug that in right there. Alright, plug this way, close enough. Then if it is a valid class, then we want to create widget. And the widget we want to create will be our handy dandy tooltip. Alright, and the item info that we'll plug in will be this item info right here. And we'll just do that right there. And then we will add that to viewport. Now on unhovered, I'm just going to, for now, drag off this, say is valid. And I'm going to move this away so you can see clearly. I'm grabbing from that create tooltip widget, return value, seeing if it is valid. If it is, we want to see, is it in viewport? So is in viewport. This is the next question we need to ask. So we'll do a branch. If it is valid and it is in viewport, then we want to remove from parent. Just like that. And this will have it functionable for now. It won't be exactly the best. Whoa. I'm gonna put like a warning for that. Dang. So the problem with that is it's popping up right in the middle, and then it's just spazzing out a little bit. What we can do, we can add a custom event called Tooltip. And we will call this event right here. So we'll drag this down. I'm going to go ahead and promote this to a variable called Tooltip, nope, called Tooltip W. Plug that in, just like that, right there. Get out of here, go there. Now, on our Tooltip widget, we want to set position in viewport. What we're going to set the position of is that Tooltip widget. Now for the position, we want to get our player controller. Get player controller, and we want to get the mouse position. Now this will return the X and the Y exactly. Right here on the position, we want to make the vector 2D, because this way we can have access to these, plug it right in, wherever the mouse is at, that is the coordinates that this position will be set at. But we don't want to just plug this in directly, because, well, let me show you why. Because if I full screen this and I do this, see, it pops up right at the mouse, and it sometimes glitches out a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to add a little offset. So I'm going to back these up a little bit further. From location X, I want to do an add, and from position Y, I want to do an add also. So from here we can plug in directly, and with these numbers you can customize where you want it. So if I set it to be plus 100 and plus 100 on the X and the Y, now when I jump in full screen to have a similar effect, it's way over there. It's not in my mouse's way. Or the way I like to do it is I like to go to the left with it personally. So I will do, let's see, the X is the side to side. I made it 300. So let's do negative 350. And I think plus 0 would be fine on the Y. Well, let's find out. Yeah, that looks good. I think I like it on the left because of World of Warcraft, and that's where it would always be. But let's take a look. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want it to actually follow our mouse. Like if I move on the mouse, on the icon, I want it to move with it. So on hovered, we need to add a boolean variable. Is going to add a new one. Scroll down so we can see, called display. That'll be fine. Call it whatever makes it stand out to you. And on our hovered condition, if it is a valid class and we're going to create the widget, then we set display to true. And on unhovered, right at the end when we remove it from the parent, we'll set display back to false. Parent. Alright, so after we set its position in the viewport in our tooltip, let's add a delay. Something ridiculously small. I'm going to set to like 0.01 or 0.001 even would be alright. Then I'll add a branch with a B left click, hook my display up just like that, and if it's true, then we want to call our tooltip function again, and it'll update its position on the screen. So if we jump in, let me pick that up, let me open my screen. Now it's 0.01 is a little blocky moving. Let's see, 0.001. That's nice and smooth right there. That looks good. Alright, I'm gonna save real quick. So now with the for the descriptions, you'll just go into your item info data table and you'll see at the very bottom they all have a description now. Oh, this is a holdover. Let me just, I guess I forgot to do that part. Alright. So now health potion, I can set its description to be like restores a small amount of health when consumed. That'll be fine for now. I'm gonna pick up a sword so we can see the difference. An old sword, not very sharp, but should be somewhat useful. Shield, let's do the wood shield. An old shield. The boards are already splintering. And then what was the other one? Let's see. Let's do green herb and then we'll just show. Alright, green herb. A faint smell of mint. Let's just say has a faint smell of mint. And of course you can describe the things however you want to. Let's just do it. Pointlessly, probably. But alright, let's jump in. Alright, I'm gonna pick up a green herb. A rusty sword. A wooden shield. I think that's all the ones I did. Alright. So now my green herb. What is it? Rusty's what? Huh? What? Why you no do what you're supposed to do? Did I need to save? I did save. Green herb. Health potion. Oh, because I did the health potion. But I did the green herb too. Has a faint smell of mint. So it should be. Here's my description. Here's my description. Let's see, was it updating appropriately and saying damage instead of potency and all that? Defense 0, damage 0. Yeah, it's updating that part. Why are you not calling out the description though? Bro? Bro? Item description. Oh! Okay, so since we've picked up new items, what we need to do now, we have to update our pickup item because we've adjusted this. We'll just need to connect anywhere you got this to where we're adding or subtracting or anything like that. We just need to feed in the description just like that. And that should be good. It was just automatically getting set to blank right there. So no. Why? Oh, since I've updated the data table, it's these freaking. I'm just not very sharp, I guess. Oh, I didn't even. Here, let me grab all of those specific items I just moved around because I forgot if it's out in the world and you adjust the data table, then it has to be reloaded. Has a faint smell of mint. I'm not crazy. Alright, an old shield. The boards are already splintering. An old sword, not very sharp, but should be somewhat useful. Restores a small amount of health when consumed. Now you notice that the defense and the potency isn't doing anything. But that is because inventory tooltip. Alright, now we need to set that potency variable. So I'm going to get that text, set that text. I'm going to move all this way. Set that down. And then we can just, since we're using a potency for everything, we can just plug this right here. If you are using different things, like if you have a defense stat and a weapon damage stat instead of just the potency, since this will work for me because I'm just using the potency. If you have multiple, what you can do is you can take this and set it on this side on the switch. So like on switch, on health item, I'd set the text to the potency variable. Sword, I'd set it to the damage. Shield, that, and so on and so forth. So that's the way you could do that. But now let's jump in real quick. Grabby. Grabby. Grabby McGrabby. Alright. Green herb has no potency. Could probably just go ahead and disable those on that one. Defense 10, damage 5, potency 25. Good deal. So let's say it's something like the green herb, and it doesn't need all that. So what we can do is we'll see if this, now we'll do it over here. So we'll highlight potency, and we will bind this to a binding. So we'll text potency, bind it. No, not there. It's under the behavior, visibility. That's where we want visibility. So we're going to bind that to a binding. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to drag this out, get item info, break it open, and if potency is greater than 0, then it will be visible. If it's not, then we'll just hide it because there's no need in it telling us nothing. So greater than 0, visible. We can copy with Control-C, paste with Control-V, plug that in, make sure you drop this return value and set it to hidden on the false. So now, oh, but let's also do that to the 0. So potency and the 0, scrolling down to behavior, visibility. We don't have to create a binding, we can just set get item label visibility 0. Use the same one. Come here to me. Don't really need all these items. I'm gonna take them anyway. Alright, green herb. Hey, it has a faint smell of mint. Wood shield, an old shield. The boards are splintering. The bow I've done nothing with. We can put a description. You can do whatever you like with that. Potency 25, damage 5, has a description. Looking good. Following our mouse. I'm loving its pieces. There is one issue. If I close my menu, it doesn't go off screen. But that's fairly easy to fix. Let me show you real quick. I hope this video is not getting too long. 32 minutes! I didn't mean to yell in your ear. I'm so sorry. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the player blueprint real quick. I'm going to try to just run through this. We're going to go into the event graph. And we're going to find our menu function. Quest screen. Fast travel menu. Where are you? Attack system. Really should clean this up. Really should. But I'm very lazy. Okay, let's see. You gotta, oh my god. It's the one that's, okay. Let's go down here. We'll add a variable. It is going to be our tooltip underscore widget. And the reason we're doing it here is because we need to access the variable in here, because this is where we'll close it from. Actually, I wonder if we can. No time. Alright, let's see. Tooltip. It is going to be a tooltip widget object reference. Compile that real quick. Now when we close our tooltip, we want to get it and see if it is valid. And is in viewport, just like the other time. And we'll do a branch. So if it is valid, it is in viewport, we're going to remove from parent. Plug that in right there. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and set the tooltip widget back to blank. Alright. Now, in our inventory icon, when we create this widget, we can create it. Let me select all this stuff, back it up. We are going to cast to our player get player character. Then we want to set tooltip widget to be this. Then we'll plug that right there. And then when we come in here, pick it up, check it out. It's gone. Open it up. There it is again. If I close my menu, it is gone. And that's got you with a tooltip. Good deal. Alrighty, so I am sorry that this one went on so long. I'm very sorry for yelling in your ear when I realized how long it had gone on. I try to avoid the longer videos because I didn't want to split this one into 2 parts, because I wanted y'all to get it all at once. That way, you know, you have it. But that's how you do it. That'll update your tooltip. It'll be all well and good. So in the next one, we will start. We'll tweak our harvesting system a little bit because them just snapping out of existence isn't very good. We'll make it to where they like crumble. Excuse the sound effects. But we will do that. So I will see y'all in a bit. Bye bye.